All right, well, welcome. It's June 14th and it's already a hot summer, and we have a great call tonight about powering up with three-way calls. And I'm Ellen Graham. I'm one of your national marketing directors, and I'm going to share with you, I love a slideshow, keeps us in the rails. And I want to talk tonight about powering up with three-way calls. And hold on here a second, I got to go back. What I think is so important to know is three-way calls or connection calls or attraction calls. You'll hear them called all these things. They're designed to do just that. Attract people to our teams, connect people with one another. And the power of three-way calls is, as long as you have one of these, and we all have one of these, right? You don't have to have Zoom.
Just don't know how to use it.
You don't have to have Zoom. You don't have to, you don't have to meet somewhere in person. Three-way calls build your teams anywhere, anytime, stronger, faster, and so much fun. You know that terminology, the more the merrier. This is true. Okay, so I want to start with, I'd love to hear from you all. Let's start with why. I think before any of us are going to do anything, we want to know why we're doing it. And so I think it's really important to talk about the benefits to everybody that's on that connection call. The rep, okay, that's probably you, the new member, someone you're inviting, and the upline, which is, it's possibly me or Reagan, or it may be someone else in your upline that's here on the call with us that's doing that with you. So I would love to hear from you all. What do you feel like are the benefits? What's in it for each of these people? Missy?
For the rep, I think what's in it for anyone who's the rep is that you aren't feeling the pressure of talking to your new person and feeling as though you might be pushing, and it lets you step back and allows the upline to discuss and talk with the new member.
I'd like to add something to that, and it also helps the rep to learn. I think it helped. For me, it would be a really great help to be able to learn from the upline so that I could do my own three-way calls in the future.
Absolutely. Learning, the repetition of how we tell our stories, how we share about our product, how we share getting started, all of those things are so valuable. And one of the reasons we come to our Monday night calls to connect is because we get the repetition of the principles, right? And we get it in different voices and in different ways every week. And that develops our confidence and our skill set. So that's fantastic. Thank you, ladies. Who else wants to share benefits?
I was going to say it's a role model. And so that, just like she was saying, we're learning like that. And sometimes you wouldn't have said it that way, and you hear it the right way or a way that's much more presentable that it's presented. And so it's easier then for you to repeat that when it's your turn, because you've seen it, how it works and how that role is carried out.
That's a fantastic way of saying it. What do you think's in it for that new person? Maybe their only exposure to Juice Plus has been you. What do you think's in it for them?
Gives them third person validation and hearing it from somebody else and in somebody else's words and their experiences.
Right. Anything else?
They also know they're not going to be alone in the business or just kind of tossed out there to start, that they're going to have somebody backing them up, both you and an upline who cares about them genuinely and wants their success as well.
That's fantastic. Great points. Anybody else want to add to that?
You know, I was going to piggyback on that, Sue, because I think that was a great thing that Todd Falcone talked about in his coaching, that when you bring that new person on and you're introducing them to other people in your organization, then they feel confident knowing, like you said, there's more than just you and them. And if you're busy, now you've already started a rapport with other people so that they can see the community of that. And if they need an answer right away, they know, oh gosh, I already met Ellen. I have her number. Sue's not available, so let me call Ellen and get that answer. And I think that gives them a lot of power, the new partner.
Absolutely. I love all that. And, you know, this just came to mind. I want to share a story because one of the things that's really important that you take from this tonight is facts tell and stories sell. Okay. So a person might get excited about Juice Plus because they read about the science on your website, but that story they hear from a total stranger is going to be really powerful for them. I was just sharing with my cousin's daughter is going to leave Colorado and go to college in Texas where I went. And I was sharing with her, she said, oh, do you think I should join a sorority? And, you know, this is 25 years ago. And I said, well, you know what I feel like the real benefit for me is I got there. I didn't know anybody. And here I was, you know, out of state, new campus, finding all the classes, doing all the things that a freshman in college does. And my sorority gave me built-in friends and structure. It kind of gave me just enough guardrails, because also when you're a freshman in college, it's kind of like being a Juice Plus distributor. You got freedom to do whatever you want to do or not do, right? So it gave me just enough structure and just enough friends and accountability that I did the things I needed to do in school, but I also had the built-in fun and people to go do things with, and people that invited me home on the weekends, or people that invited me to, I'd like to say church, but it was mostly parties and things like that. So it's really not any different than what we're doing here in Juice Plus, right? We're bringing people into something so much bigger than ourselves. You really cannot do this without the power of connection, which takes us to, you know, the next slide here. There's 2 keys to growth and development of customers and team. Okay. And that's trust and edification. And I love this picture. In fact, print this out and put it on your bulletin board where you work on your Juice Plus daily method of operation, because every step you're taking, ask yourself, am I edifying someone, or does or do I need to be edified? How am I building trust? How am I building trust with a customer, with a new team member, with a long-term team member? Am I still calling and checking in? You know, I talked about my customer she's been my customer 15 years. She doesn't ever want to join my team, and that's fine, but I still check in with her. So there's trust there, right? But what happens in that call that is so key and so important is in the introduction, you're going to introduce your upline to this new member, okay? And you're going to edify both of them. You're going to share what you love about both of them. You're going to zip your mouth shut and mute yourself on the phone and let them talk. Okay. Because that is what you just did. So let's say, for example, I am bringing my new team member, Kelly, and I'm going to have a 3-way call with Reagan. Kelly decided to join my team, and we're going to do her welcome/launch call as a connection call. And so Kelly's never met Reagan. She didn't know anything about Reagan. Now I've told Kelly in advance, I said, hey, I really want you to meet Reagan. You know, she's a mentor of mine. I've got 15 years experience. She's got 18. She's got a really cool team. I love the culture on our team. I want you to hear her story. And I want her, Kelly, to meet you and know your story. Okay, so we're going to get on that call. Now I'm also going to call Reagan, and I'm going to give her a minute or 2 of information about Kelly. I'm going to say, I have this new gal, Kelly, on my team, and I really like her. You know what? She's full of positive energy, and she really knows how important it is to live a healthy lifestyle. She's entrepreneurial. She's done X, Y, and Z in her life. And that shows that, you know, she's really got some successful skills. And I can't wait for you to meet her. I think you guys will really like each other. And I might even say something like, hey, did you know that you both like golfing? Reagan loves to golf. I'm assuming Kelly likes to golf. So I'm going to make those little connections, right? Now we're getting on the call, and my job is to do a really good, succinct introduction. So I'm going to get everybody on the line, and I'm going to say, okay, Kelly, I'm so excited for you to finally meet my golfing friend, Reagan. She golfs like you do. I don't know anything about golf, but you both like it. So I know you're going to have a lot to talk about, but let me tell you, Kelly, I've been excited to introduce you to Reagan because I want her to hear about your experience as a school teacher and your experience starting a business with your husband. And Kelly, I want you to hear how Reagan got this mission for Juice Plus so deep inside her. And she has just been so passionate and really created a tribe of passionate, fun, smart people doing this with her. I want you guys to connect. And after I say that, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to mute myself. Okay. And I'm going to let them talk. Okay. And so in advance, Reagan's going to have a couple good questions to ask. And Kelly's going to get an opportunity to maybe share any concerns she has, ask any questions. You know, maybe Kelly has already told her sister about Juice Plus, and maybe her sister gave her a snarky response and it threw Kelly off a little. We're going to deal with all of that right here. And so what we're doing is Reagan's going to edify me as Kelly's leader. Reagan's going to talk a little bit like, hey, you know what? Ellen's pretty great. You know, after Reagan tells her story, she's gonna be like, let me tell you about when Ellen joined my team. And she's going to edify me a little bit so that Kelly is further deepening her trust with me. Okay. Reagan's going to edify Kelly and say, you know, I really like that you're here. I feel like, you know, as someone who's a school teacher and a business owner, you have a lot of the skills that you can go out and share this. Let me tell you about the potential to make income, to make impact. So all through this, we're bouncing around this triangle. We're edifying one another and we're building trust. And that's a really key thing. And this should be genuine. It should be transparent. As you know, think about when you started. I bet almost everybody here had a three-way call when they started, right? Okay. And I know some of you may not have. And I think it's so important that we emphasize this in our culture. People need to know that they are part of something that's bigger than you and me. I've always said with my business, if for some reason I'm in a coma for the next 6 months, this should be able to go on without me, right? Okay. So, because it's not really about us. So let's talk about some do's and don'ts. And I want to hear from you all about what we could add to the list. But again, you're going to edify both your prospective member and your upline with a good intro. And you know what? The other thing I haven't said that's so important about this is we have a super healthy culture in our team because we spread good gossip. And we really don't do anything else, right? There's no anything else. So that goes all the way through to the connection call. You're going to share what you love about the two people you're connecting. Again, you know, I love that Reagan is such a good tower gardener and Kelly really wants to grow a tower garden. And I'm not as great at it, so I can connect them. And I'm going to bring together those common things, okay? Because I want them to be friends. Again, just like when I went to the sorority house, there was 120 girls in there. Now, did I become best friends with all of them? No, but I could find things in common with each and every one of them and start to create those really beautiful connections that made us such a wonderful group. Asking great questions. So some of you have growing teams. Some of you are doing your own connection calls. You're not even using me and Reagan yet or anymore. And so you want to be asking good questions, open-ended questions, not yes, no questions. You know, hey, Tamara, I know you've already shared Juice Plus with 5, 7 people because you're excited about it. Do you know what kind of income you're going to get from those orders? Tamara goes, oh, well, no, how does that work? Well, let me show you. Okay. Again, the person creating the connecting is quiet. All right. So you don't really need to chime in. Just let it happen. Give your upline some info to start. It can be really hard, depending on the personalities you're connecting to, connect to people that don't know anything about each other. So it's a little bit like an awkward first date. You just don't know what's going to happen. Some don't talk forever. Okay. Your 3-way calls should be 15 to 20 minutes maximum. Always leave that call with a next step. So there should always be a step and a wrap up. So when I get off the phone with Tamara and her new distributor and Tamara are crystal clear about what they're going to go do next. Okay. And don't flush the toilet on a 3-way call. Any other things that you would add to that list? I want to hear what you all think.
I have a question.
Okay, Missy.
Here's one of my questions. We talk about 3-way calls with somebody that we've already signed up. Do we want to? I know when we had Todd Falcone, he always said, even for a customer, have a 3-way call if you want to. Is that pushing it, or what's your feeling on that?
Absolutely not. I think sometimes that's great. We've all worked with, I think, it really depends on the personality type. That person that's a researcher, they're going to cross every T and dot every I and read every study. They probably would love a 3-way call, because again, that's edifying the research. It's edifying what you've been telling them. On the other hand, you get that person that is, you just met Patsy yesterday and she's so excited. She joined your business that day. She's got 2 customers last night. You haven't even had a chance for a 3-way call. You still want to do the 3-way call, right? Because it's all about going deeper and taking that next step. What else would you all add to that? Patty, Bobby, you got anything to add? Tracy, you've been here a long time with me. You've done your fair share of 3-way calls.
Hi. No, what I really appreciated about what you shared was just how you walked through it, as I think we can tend to just talk too much and say too much. And I just loved how you just shared, like, this is how you do it. That was super. It was actually, I learned a lot from that, because I think I am that person. I say too much. Because you know so much and you're excited and you want them to, you kind of throw up on them, and that's never good. So, no, I thought it was great. I just want to touch on really that piece alone.
Perfectly said.
But the 3-ways are
Tracy.
super duper. I just think they are really, really important. And I think we all need to take advantage of this. Like, don't pass up on this opportunity.
It is absolutely, I will tell you this, the number of 3-way calls you do in proportion to the growth of your paycheck will blow your mind if you really stay consistent with doing these.
Yeah.
The 2 years that I really put the pedal to the metal to go from senior sales to NMD, I was doing 3-way calls many, many times a week. And a lot of times it was 10 minutes, maybe it was even just to jump on, for example, Kelly, who's on this call, is on Nikki's team, in my team. And so, Kelly and I might just jump on a call to talk about Kelly's next step. Maybe she's already made Partner Plus. Let's talk about how is she going to work her way to QSC. So a 3-way call has so many different purposes, But you guys, it's that power of connection and trust and edification that drives us all forward. You know, those are drivers, whether it doesn't matter what you're doing, whether you're doing Juice Plus and network marketing, or you're in corporate America, or you're growing a church, or you're running a sorority house. Those are all key principles. So I like that, you know, you said that, Tracy, and it's so simple. There's nothing hard about this, right? Okay, really? Oh, go ahead, Patty.
Thank you. So the question that I have, and not to put a damper on all of this, but there have been times in our long career where we say, hey, we really would love to connect you with my friend, because we don't want to say upline or whatever, because they don't understand what that is half time anyway. So love to connect you with our friend. She would love to meet you. But you get pushback, and here again, don't want to bring up the negative part of this, but sometimes that does happen where well, I really don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to, so I guess that maybe that kind of tells you where they are in their interest in the business, I suppose. But that sometimes is a little disconcerting, because you think, oh my gosh, that would just make such a huge difference for them. But I don't really know, if that happens, what do you say? What do you say that could maybe think?
Fantastic question. Yeah, no, Patty, I'm glad you brought it up, because it's not always that easy, right? And I'm actually really glad you brought it up. Not every three-way connection call you do is going to be absolutely fantastic. And sometimes the hardest part is getting someone on the call. And so we go back to what's the benefit for them. And when you invite to a call, you got to be real careful that the agenda isn't you, right? The agenda is what's in it for them. I feel like you're going to be I feel like you're so excited to share Juice Plus, and you're going to be even more excited after you hear my friend Reagan's story. Now, if they're not that excited to share it, maybe they need to start with coming on our Monday night team call and learning that we don't bite, most of us. And then, kind of saying, oh, remember the lady leading the call, I would like for us to have a call, just the three of us. Okay. So again, that's a really good point, Patty, because you're going to have a lot of people that start, and you're going to have a lot of people that throw down their own obstacles. And if they don't choose to get over them, we can't do it for them. But that doesn't mean that 6 months from now, they're not, they can come lurk on our Monday night call, and maybe 6 months from now, they can hop on a connection call and go, okay, you know what? I was in a weird place 6 months ago, but now I'm ready. And if it doesn't go perfectly, again, thank everyone, be honest with people, acknowledge their feelings, where they're at, and just keep moving forward. That's the whole point, is everybody should be taking a next step after this call, right?
But Ellen, it's Tracy. I just have another question. So I think it's really great what you said, Patty. That is the truth. I've had that too. And I guess my question then is, are the three-way calls only for the new person? And I would say no, right? Like, I think that's something that all of us could take more advantage of, is even with someone that is even kind of new, or someone that you're either restarting, or you just know that they're on the verge, and you just, and even if they've been in the business for years, I think it's really, really wonderful to know that these three ways are for that too. Would you agree?
100%. 100%, because aren't we all always going through life and things are changing? I've been doing this for 15 years, but if I got on a three-way call with Reagan and Jennifer, we'd have a lot of catching up to do, because guess what? It's the same thing. We still have a story to tell, and what if, let's say someone on my team who hasn't been very active in a couple years, you know, they call me up and they want to get re-engaged and they're back on their Monday night calls, I want to have a 3-way call with them. So we can say, hey, welcome back. How the heck are you? You know, that's the beauty of this. And Emily brought up, and I have to apologize that this is not in my silly PowerPoint, but listen, just be present and listen. So often we're rushing from this to that. Just stop and hear someone's story. It's going to give you a new perspective on what you're doing. Part of the reason the 3-way call is so great for you as a sponsor is it's going to constantly, if you're doing these all the time, you're constantly going to get reinvigorated and re-inspired about working on your Juice Plus. So, you know, really listening. And if you're the upline doing the call, you know, my goal is to ask those good questions and listen. Now, I have a responsibility to tell my story, but I also really want to listen. And I want to listen for clues, because the other thing that sometimes happens on these calls is they tell a total stranger something they never told you. The closer you are to that person in real life, the more likely they're not telling you stuff that they are going to tell to a stranger, because people are funny. We're going to love them anyway. So that's, you know, that's the other thing about it is, I have many times, you know, I think I know why someone joined my team, and we get on a 3-way call, and maybe they tell, you know, Reagan or whoever I have doing my 3-way call with me, some, you know, some personal stuff they haven't told me. Like, oh, by the way, we've got $50,000 in credit card debt. That's why I'm here. I got to pay this off. And then, but you know, what we've done with the call, if we do it well, is we create kind of a safe space, right? So that this person can share and go create solutions for whatever problems. So that's awesome. What else? Anything else you want to add? Okay, so again, every call has a goal. Now, when you're setting up your call, so for example, if Karen texts me on a Saturday morning and says, you know what, I have this friend in Denver, and you have a couple things in common with her, and she's, you know, just joining my team. I'd love to introduce you on a connection call. So what is the goal of the call? And Karen says, well, you know what? I feel like she's a little bit hesitant to have an event. I'm like, okay, I could talk to her about how much fun I've had with events. So that's really going to be the goal of our call, right? And we want to help Karen's friend. We don't want to coerce her. We want to help her make a positive decision to have an event, okay? Or 3. And to take that next step. And one thing I can do on that call that Karen can't do is I can say to her friend, I can say, so when you get off this call, I want you to make a list of 30 people. I want you to share it with Karen. And then I want you to work out how you're going to invite each of these people. And maybe while we're on this call, we'll go through the first 2 or 3 people on the list, and I'll give her verbiage. And then they're launched, they're off, right? And I may even say, a lot of times we do this on my team, like, let's get back with each other either on a call or on Facebook Messenger tomorrow and talk about how it went, right? So a little bit of accountability, but also a little bit of like, I'm going to give myself an opportunity to give you a pat on the back, because Karen, you're a great sponsor, and your new team member went out and invited 30 people, right? So just, you know, and then again, answering those key questions that they may have. Karen's friend says to me, well, what if no one comes? Well, we're going to invite enough people so that, you know, someone comes. And, you know, we're going to answer all those concerns. And again, inviting is often the goal of the call. We're inviting them to take a next step. You can use a 3-way call to invite people to events. I used to always build for regionals and conferences this way, is I would grab my upline and we would just get on the phone and start calling people and saying, hey, we're going to Super Saturday. I've got 5 seats. I want you in one of them, and here's why. You know, I think you're fun. I think you're positive. I think you could really make a difference. And didn't you just tell me last week that your kids are sick all the time, and you don't know how you're going to pay for preschool next year, or whatever it is, we're going to call them and invite them. Okay. So that's just to give you an idea of, again, the call has a goal. Everybody's on the same page in terms of what the call is going to accomplish. We do it, there's a next step, and we move on. Okay, I think that's my last. This is my last slide, but so we're really in the business of leading people from step to step. And I think next step thinking, the concept of edification, building trust, and then the concept of next step thinking is really helps you to be successful. It gets you out of your feelings, gets you out of your brain, into your planner, into your phone, and doing the activity that builds impact and builds income. So schedule it, plan the key questions with a goal in mind, show up to it, and repeat. And it's that simple, you guys. So our incentive this month is we've got Amazon cards for 3-way welcome calls, launch calls, prospective business or team member calls. So get those rolling. They're really simple and fun to do. And I've been sneaking out at the hallway at work to do them with gals on my team, or, sitting in my backyard watching my kids hit a ball while I'm doing a 3-way call, or sitting at the pool, sitting in the parking lot at the grocery store. These are simple. You can do them anywhere. Anything else? Questions? Anything anybody wants to add?
Another great training, Ellen. You always bring it. Thanks.
Thank you, Patty. I appreciate that.
That's what we were
Yes.
telling Reagan the other day, is you always bring great training.
Thank you. These are Monday nights are super
Ditto.
special. Anything else anybody wants to add? Just remember, don't flush the toilet on a 3-way call. I want you to always think about these.
Put the
and
mute
laugh.
button on.
Kind of like wear pants on a Zoom. All right, you all are just the best. I'm going to stop sharing and stop the recording.